Hi everyone. Today we will study about arrays and vectors in C++. To understand what is array, uh, let's let's consider about let's think about variable. You know that variable is a memory location that it store one value. So for example, if we want to store many values, for example, if you are storing all the marks of the whole class, like quiz marks of every student of the whole class, then how many variables you will need? So for example, you marks of first student, then marks of second student, marks of third student, and so on. Okay, so for you see, we need many variables to create. So it's actually a big issue to create many variables and then assign values to each variable, and then you are maybe reading value for that, like using cin, and then displaying each variable using the out statement. So it's really a big issue that for the whole class, for example, you will need many variables to store the scores, and you will again need many variables to store the names of the students, and then storing values in this and then displaying values of this. So it's really a big issue to use that many variable. So the solution for this is that we need one such variable which is capable of storing many values, and such variable which can store multiple values is called array. The condition is that all the values must be of the same type. So array is actually a variable which can store multiple values. For example, all the class quiz marks. Okay, so but all the marks must be of the same type. Okay, array cannot store mixed type of values. It must be of the same. So the values are stored in adjacent memory locations. What does it mean? I will show you. And how to declare the array. If you want to declare an array whose name is test, and it will store the value type that it store is integer, and the size is 5. So the value inside the square bracket represents size. The this one is the name of the array, and this one is the type of array. So it means we have an array of size 5. Its name is test, and all these 5 values will be integer. Okay, and this how these values will be stored in memory. There will be no space in a memory. Like for example, first value, second value, third value, and then space, and then another fourth value. No space is allowed. All these values are stored continuous, adjacent to each other, like this. For example, when we declare an array like this, then it allocates the following memory location like this, that all the values are adjacent to each other. Okay, the first value, then the second value, then third value, fourth value, and fifth value, and there will be no space between them. Okay, so these are as I told you, that int is the data type of the array, test is the name of the array, and the number 5 in the square bracket represent the size of array. And the memory size of the array is equal to a number of elements, for example in this case 5, okay, times the number of the number of bytes for each element. In this case, for example, if let's suppose int has a 4 byte, that 5 times 4 equal to 20 bytes. Okay, so the size of array is the total number of bytes allocated for it, like number of elements, how many values are in this array, and number of bytes for each element. Like int test5 is an array of 20 bytes, assuming 4 bytes for each int, and long double measures is an array of 80 bytes, assuming 8 bytes for long. Okay, so it work like this. to calculate the total number of total memory of an array. Okay, so when we are declaring array, mostly we are using named constant. We have studied that, like how to declare a named constant, const int size. Mostly named constant we are using capital words like this, like size equal to 5. Then later on int test. So you see the constant value we are using inside the square bracket to show the size of the array. So how to access the array? Each element in the array is assigned a unique subscript. Subscript means like index. Okay, the subscript start from 0. The value, as we studied, in array, all the memory locations are adjacent to each other. But this, note this point, that the starting number, the subscript, it starts from 0. So the first subscript is 0, the second one 1, the third 2, fourth 3, and fifth 5, and sixth is the fifth one. Okay, because it starts from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the last element of the subscript is n minus 1, meaning to say if the size of the array is 6, so the last subscript will be 6 minus 1, 5. Okay, so array elements can be used as regular variables like this, like test 0. Oh, you see this tests 0, like the first value in the array equal to 79, and then you can display the value exactly like normal variable, and you can get value for this like c in test 1. Okay, and then you can apply all the values, all the operations on array element exactly like normal variables, like test 4 equal to test 0 plus test 1. An array must be accessed via individual elements. You cannot do like this, that like display the whole array like this. No, you will have to use the subscript. Okay, and then you can display. For example, let's see. I will show you the array examples. Okay, let's suppose array1.cpp. Okay, this one I just created. So you see, const number of employees, 6 employee, and for how many hours they work. So we create hours array for the of size 6. So enter number of hours worked by the 6 employee. So C in hour 0 is the first value in the array. Hours 1 is the second value in the array. Hours 2 is the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And the total size is 6, and the last index is size minus 1. So uh, once we enter all these values, and then just to display the values using cout statement, hours 0, so the first value will be displayed, then the second value will be displayed, third value will be displayed, and so on. So if we run this program, okay, then you see enter hour, enter the hours worked by 6 employee. So for example, the first employee work 6 hours, the other one work 12 hours, and 10 hours. Okay, 11 hours, and 5 hours. Okay, 8 hours. So you see the output, the values you entered are 6, 12, 10, 11, 5, and 8. Okay, so meaning to say we can access the values in array by index. Okay, the index starts from 0. Okay, so it starts like this. Is like our 0 is the first one, our 1 is the second one, and so on, as we see. So uh, to access the elements of array, we can access the element of array with a constant or a literal. We can use like this also, like cout test 3. So it will display the fourth value, and you can use in place of this 3 as one variable also. Okay, so the subscript can be a constant value and the subscript can be a variable also. It's no problem. So mostly we are using loops because so many values to enter and so many values to display. So to use loop, okay, we will display like this, like const int array size equal to 5, and now we are displaying the num array of size 5. Now for int count equal to 0, count less than array size, and count plus plus, and numbers count equal to 99. So it means this for loop will initialize all the array elements with 99. So all the 5 elements will having the value 99. So the for loop starts from 0, it checks the size is 5. Okay, so count is less than 0 is less than 5, yes, then count 0. You see, count 0 is the first index. It will become the value will be assigned 99, and then plus plus, and then again it will initialize each and every item in the array with the value 99. So global array and local array. Okay, let me show you like this, that local array are global array are assigned are initialized by 0 by default, and local array are initialized are uninitialized. What does it mean? When it means that when we declare the array globally, then its elements are automatically initialized with 0. But if we declare the array locally, in a local scope, then its values will be uninitialized. Okay, let me show you. Before that, I think I should show you how to initialize an array. Okay, for example, if you see this one, yeah, how to initialize an array. Like you see, const int months. So here I am declaring one constant variable month with the value 12, and here I am declaring one array with the name days, and its size is of the 12, and then I'm initializing. So if you want to initialize an array, then we will assign the provide the values in a curly brackets, that and each value will be separated by comma. For example, 12 values, so 12 values inside these curly brackets. Okay, and each value will be separated by comma. So first value comma, second value comma, third value comma, fifth, and so on until the number of values must be 12. It should not be more than this. If it is more than this, it will not work, and if it is less than this, then for example, if we provide 10 values, then the 10 values will be used and the rest of the 2 values will be uninitialized. So this is the way how to initialize an array. So we can enter values to array, and we can initialize like a variable, and after that we can use a loop to display the values. For example, if we run this code, so then it will display like this, that month 1 has 31 days, month 2 has 28 days. You see, the loop is displaying all the months values. Okay, after now global and local array. When we declare anything before int main, it is called global scope. Okay, so I declare one constant variable before int main, and I declare the global one array with the name global array, and the size is the 6, and all these two I declare before it went, so it is a global array now. Okay, so now here inside int main, I want to check. You see here, I didn't give any value. I didn't initialize to something. I didn't give any value. So I just want to check the default value of this. So default value of array, global array is actually 0. So if I just display global array value or default value of global array, for example, global array default value equal to, let's suppose I want to display the third value. Okay, then you will see that this will display only 0. And here another array I declared with the name local array, and the size is the same, 6. But here local array default value, you will see that this will be some random value or garbage value, because this one I have declared in this local scope. So this is a local array. So if I run it, you see the first value is 0 and the second value is a random number. So it proves that the global array will be initialized with 0 and the local array is initialized with a random number. Okay, next one, array can be initialized with initialization list like this. You see, like for example, cast int size, the size equal to 5, and int test. So test is the name of the array, size is the 5, and after that equal to curly brackets, as I show you in the example also. So 5 values separated by comma, and all these are enclosed in a curly brackets and then semicolon. So the values are stored in array in order in which they appear in the list. So the first value first will go to the first location, second value will go to the second location, third will go to the third location, and so on. And the initialization list cannot exceed the number of array. For example, here the size is 5. The values must be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it is more than this, you will get an error. If it is less than this, then the provided value will be used and the extra value will be the default value. Default value may be, if the array is global, then will be 0. If the array is local, then will be a random number. This like this. Okay, so if the array is initialized with fewer initial values, then the size declaration, the remaining elements will be set to 0. So you see, for example, like this, int number 7. So the size is 7, and we provided 4 values. So the first value will go to first location, second value will go to second, third to third, fourth to fourth. But the rest, you see, the rest will be initialized with 0. Okay, and can determine the array size by the size of array initialization list. So meaning to say, if you provide the initialization list, then you can skip the size if you want. So int quizzes, okay, so how many quizzes? You can skip the square bracket size value, but the compiler can guess the size of this array from the number of values that you provided in the list. For example, here are 4, so the quiz sizes will be automatically set to 4, and the array will be created like this. And this must use either array size declaration and declarator or initialization list. So if when you are leaving this one, then you will must provide initialization list, and if you are not providing initialization list, then you will must provide a value here. So you cannot check like this. In C++, there is no bound checking. What is meant by bound checking? Bound checking means that array has a size. For example, if the array has a size 5, and then if you are accessing outside the array, for example, the index 6 or index less than 0, -1, then you will get a problem. So you cannot do like this. So when you use a value as an array subscript, the subscript value, the C++ doesn't check the value of the subscript to give you a proper message, but C++ is trying to access that value, but when the program run at runtime, you will get an error. So be careful to this. For example, if you see here, the size is 3, okay, the size is 3. So if we create an array with the name value and the size is 3, then if we use a loop, count equal to 0, count less than 5, you see it goes until 5, but the size is 3. So it means that the loop is going beyond the size of the array, and count plus plus. So count values, count equal to 0, so equal to 100. So the first value will be initialized with 100, second will be initialized with 100, third will be initialized with 100, but there is actually no fourth value in this array. So when this coding is run, it may create problem, or it may create some, so can change some other value in the RAM. So be very careful when you are using you know, when you are using subscript in array in C++. So if the size is 3, make sure that this index should not go beyond the size of the array. If go beyond the size of array, it will create a serious issue. Okay, so it will be like this. For example, the size is the bounds means that if the array has size 3, so it lower bound, meaning to say less than the index 0, will be this, and upper bound more than the size of the maximum index. So if you do like this, maybe it will assign the value 100 to some other value in the RAM at that time, which actually is outside the array. The array has only size 3, but we are giving 5 values using a loop, so it will do some extra value. So be very careful when you are using array. Okay, so most of the time the array index is always off by 1. Off by 1 means that if the size is 6, okay, if the size is 6, the index must go till 5. If the size is 7, then the indexes should go till 6, because indexes start from 0. So 0, 1 until 6 is equal to 7. So this is always we are getting, most of the time we are getting this type of error, but the cause of the error is that if you start the loop from 1, so we should be very careful to start the loop from 0, not from 1. And then you see the size equal to, we should not try to use the equality. No, we note the 2 points. We should start from 0, and we should not use the equality. It should be less than size. Okay, less than size, because it should always be off by 1. Okay, it should always be 1 less than the size. Okay, so if we are using a loop to display an array element, for example, if you see, if you look at this one, uh, initialize an array. So you see this one, if we are using, if we have this array, all these values are assigned, so then using a loop, for loop, to use the count variable and then assign the values and display the values. Actually, C++ provides a very easy way of accessing the values of an array, which is called a range-based for loop. So, for example, if you see the same values, the same array, but a range-based for loop means it's work like this. For int, you see, we are not using int count equal to 0, count less than this, count plus plus. No, int some variable. You can use here any variable that you want, and then colon, and then the array name. You see the array name is this one. So the for loop reads each time one value from the array and put in this variable, and then we are displaying here. Okay, I just use the count to tell us that which value is this. If you want to skip this one, you can skip. Okay, so you see this range based for loop is quite easy. It works like this, that it reads in each cycle one value from the array. For example, the first value from the array and put in this, and then next time the next value and put in this, and next time the next value and put in this, and here we are simply displaying the values. So it's very easy to use the range based for loop. It has the same result, okay, the same output. You see the month one has this 31 days. You see the first value. Second time the month 2 has 28 value. You see that the second value, and third value and fourth value, and so on. Okay, so it works like this. It is so easy and very convenient to use, but not the point. It is only available in C++11, the latest version of C++. Okay, if you are using the old version of C++, then this range based for loop is not working. So it works like this. You see, as I told you, I already explained. For a data type, int means like because what type of values are there in the array. If the array has integer values, then use an int. If the array has float values, then use float. Okay, depends on the values in the array. You use that data type and one variable, any variable that you want to use, and then colon array, and then a statement, and the statement may be simple display value. Okay, like this. You see, as I already told you, int numbers, and this is the initialization list. After that, for int val numbers, and then simply display. Okay, so if you want to modify the values of the array values using the range based loop, then you cannot use a simple range based for loop, because the range based for loop, like for example here, this the value int value, this one is having the copy of the array value. So the copy of array value, if we do any change in this value, it doesn't reflect to the actual array. So if you want to do modification or apply some operation on the array values, then the procedure is that we will have to use ampersand. Ampersand, the address, the and operator in front of the variable that we are using. Okay, for example, if you see here, you see like this one, I have already modified for loop. So you see, for example, like this, that a constant variable, and this I am just using the count. So int days month, the same month array, and now this time I am using, you see, the ampersand. Okay, why? Because I am using this value to be entered to this array. So whatever I enter, you see, the message will be displayed, and cin will get a value. So whatever value is entered to this, it will go to this array. Okay, the next one, the next one, the next one, until the size of array. And once we enter the values, then using the same simple range based for loop into val, this time we are just I'm just displaying, so no need to use the ampersand in front of the disk. Okay, so simply like this. So run it, enter first month days. Okay, for example 31. Okay, 31. So enter first month days, enter second month days, let's suppose 28, enter third one, let's suppose 30. I don't know which one is correct, so I'm just entering 30, 31, 30, 31, 30, 31, 30, 31. You see, and after that, here are the values you entered. So the first one this, the second one this, the second one. So these 1, 2, 3 that I am displaying for this purpose, I just use this count variable. Okay, and this count plus 0, 0. Yeah. If you want to start from 1, then no need of this plus 1. Okay, so this is array, how array works. Okay, and the range variable, the range based for loop. Okay, and processing array elements, so we can actually process the array elements. So for example, you see test I plus plus. So if you do like this, test I represent, like test is the array name, I will represent the index. If it is where I value is 0, so the first value inside array, and then plus plus, meaning to say if the first value of array, first value of array, let's suppose here is 2, and after when this statement run, it will become 3. Okay, but there is a difference between this and this. You see test I plus plus, that this time the plus plus is inside the square bracket, so it means the index will be incremented. If the index is 0 for the first time and then I plus plus, then it will show index 1, and index 1 will show the second value. Let's suppose here is whatever value. Okay, so there is a difference between this and this, not the difference. Okay, uh, array assignment, you cannot assign one array to another array like this, that you see one array name and simply assign to another array. No, you cannot do like this. Array will be assigned element by element, so you will have to use a loop. For example, for I equals 0, I less than array size I plus plus, so the first array I equal to the second array, so the I will be the first value. Okay, so the first value of this array equal to the first value of the second array. So this for loop will assign the first this array to this array element by element. In the first iteration, the first element will be assigned, second iteration, second value will be assigned, and so on. Okay, and printing the contents of array, of character array. So character array is a very specialized type of array. So if the array is of type character like this, you see, so it is very easy to display. For example, if the character first name, and then you can leave the size, the size of the array, because we are initializing here. So character array you can initialize like this. Okay, using double quotation. You can initialize like this also, like the others one we were initializing. So curly brackets, and then single quote, and one character. Okay, then single quote, then comma, another single quote. Okay, and another character, unless until the end of the array, and the last element of the array must be single quote backslash 0. Okay, and then the curly brackets close and semicolon. So you can do like this also, but you know it is quite tedious. It's very difficult to type like this. So this one is easy way. Just put in double quotation and the name that you want to type. Okay, and then you see in the in array we cannot integer array we cannot display like this. That simply see out. Okay, and the array name. No, we cannot display like this. But in character array we can display like this. It is very easy. So let me show you an example. A character array. You see here, we can do initialize like this also. So cast int size for, so my last name, this is character array. I leave the size because I provided the values. So you see the first character enclosed in single quotes, comma, second character enclosed in single quotes, comma, and so on. This one is compulsory, not the point, if you are using this style of initialization. So the last element must be 0. So the 0 tells the compiler that this array element ends here. This is the end of this array. Okay, so you can initialize like this, and after that you can use a normal loop like int c count equal to 0, count less than size, and count plus plus, and then cout name. Okay, and if you want to put you see, if you want to see the ENDL, that every character should display on a separate line, okay, then it will be like this. The easy way, you see, this will also display the same thing, but the very easy way, that just, you see, assign this whole thing like this and then display like this. So character array is very easy to handle. So if I run this one, you see, you will see the result. The first one, the first loop, okay, that first character, then second character, the third character, but the last one, you see here, just simply see out the array name. Okay, so it will be like this. So character array can be handled very easily like this. Yeah, I already told you. Okay, in character array we can use a range based for loop also, for int one number, okay, like this, and then display the value. Can use the range based for loop to display arrays constant as shown like this. Yes, we have already covered. So summing and averaging the contents of array elements. So meaning to say, how to sum all the elements inside array, and how to find out the average of the elements of array. Okay, so let me show you here. Mm, character array, yeah, I did like this also. So you see, I will share all this code with you. Okay, so sum and average of array. So you see, constant size 4 and two variables, one for sum, one for average. I initialize the sum with 0. The average is not initialized with anything. So an array of size 4. So a message enter 4 numbers. So here I am using the range based for loop to enter values. When you want to enter values, you will must use ampersand before the variable. This is called reference variable. Okay, so then see in statement. After that, you see I am using the same range based for loop, and each time read one value from the array, and then sum with the add to the sum. It is equal to like this also, like sum equal to sum plus value. Okay, it is exactly like this. And next time next value and then sum, next time next value and then sum. So this will plus all the values. This is called summing all the values in the array. And when all these values are summed, after that I am averaging the value to use the to find out average equal to sum divided by the size of array. So and finally I am displaying the sum and average. Okay, let's see. You see, enter four values. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the sum of all values are 10 and the average is 2. Okay, it is 2. Next one, okay, next one we can do, okay, finding maximum value in array and minimum value in array. So max value in array, for example, you see the same thing, that the logic how to find max. So I created one variable with the name max. So max equal to I assign the first value of the array, the first value of array. It is something like this. Let's suppose you have an array of size 4, and let's suppose it has 4 values. Let's suppose 2, 3, 10, and 5. Okay, now what I did that I created a variable with the name max, because I want to find the maximum value in this. And what I did, I assigned the first value to this. So it is what number. Okay, number 0. Okay, so the first value I assign. Then in a loop I am checking that every time that if the first value is greater than this max. Okay, the first value, the value that you read from the array is greater than max, so it means the this value should go to max. Okay, and if it is not, then skip, then read next value. So you see, like for example here, the max has a value 2. Okay, max has a value uh, 2, because I assigned the first value. So I'm checking here, the first value will be read. So 2 is greater than 2. No, skip it. Read next value. The 3 is greater than 2. Yes, then assign to max the 3. Then 3 will be assigned to max. Then read next value 10. So 10 is greater than 3. Yes, then assign to max. Then the 10. Okay, then read 5. 5 is greater than 10. No, then don't assign. So in this way, the maximum value will be assigned to the max. Okay, it's quite easy. Let's run this one. You see, enter 4 values. Okay, so if I enter, let's suppose 2, 5, 9, and 15. Okay, so you see, it will tell me that 15 is the maximum value in this array. Okay, so the logic is like this. It is very simple. Just assign the first value to the max variable, and after that check that if any value is greater than max. Okay, then assign the greater one to max. And the same goes um, for minimum. Okay, the same concept, the same array, the same size, but here only this thing is less than min. Okay, assign the first value to minimum variable, and then check that if any value is less than minimum, then assign that value to minimum. And in this way, finally the minimum value will be in the min variable. So if we check this one, let's run. Okay, enter 4 numbers, for example, 5, 1, 5, 6, and 3. Okay, so it will that 1 is the smallest value in this array. Okay, so finding minimum and maximum values in array, it is very easy, and you can use comparing array. For example, if you want to compare one array with another array, okay, then you cannot do like one by one, like the first array compare with the second array. No, you will have to use the subscript, and you will have to use uh, the compare the first element with first element, second element with second element, third element with third element. You can copy and paste this coding, and you can check. So meaning to say, if you want to compare array, you must compare element by element. You cannot do like this, that x equal to y, like first array name equal to second array name. No, cannot do like this. And using parallel array like this, that we use one subscript variable. Okay, and use the same subscript, for example the same I in several arrays. Like for example, one array is id, the I is the same. Another array is average, the I is the same. Another array is grade, the I is same. So 3 arrays and one subscript, this is called parallel array. Okay, so parallel array, I have already explained to you this one. And we can send array to a function also. Okay, and like for example, we have covered functions that if we have a function show score, then we will, if you want to send array as a argument, then we will must use like this int and the square bracket. The square bracket shows and tells the compiler that this function accept an array. Okay, like this int show score int tests, like this. You can do like this also, you can give a name also. So both are possible. And most of the time when we are sending array to a function, then we are sending the size also, because inside the function when we are accessing the array, then we know that we should know how much is the size of array. So the first element is array, the second element is the size of array. Okay, you can check this example. Two-dimensional array. So what is two-dimensional array? Actually, two-dimensional array, let's look at one-dimensional array. So you see, this is, let's suppose, one array. Then if we have another one-dimensional array, so and we put like this, and another one-dimensional array, and we put like this, and another one-dimensional array, and we put just below the like this. So finally, if you look at this, you see actually it is a table, okay, a table, and now it is two-dimensional, like horizontal and vertical. So it is a two-dimensional array. So the point is that actually uh, one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array is composed of many one-dimensional array. Like when you combine several one-dimensional array, it makes two-dimensional array. Like you see one-dimensional array, another one-dimensional array, another one-dimensional array. So it creates two-dimensional array. Okay, so we can define one-dimensional one array for multi sets of data. Okay, like a table in a spreadsheet. So it has now two-dimensional array has rows. These are rows. Okay, and these are columns. So when we are defining an array, then we will specify number of rows and number of columns in two-dimensional array. Therefore, rows and columns, and when we are defining the array int exam, so you see the first subscript show the rows and the second subscript shows the columns. So now this exam is a two-dimensional array. Okay, so it will be like this. So the first declarator is the number of rows, the second one is the number of columns, and it looks like this. You see the first row. Note the point again, the subscripts start from 0. So the row 0 and column 0. So the value will be 0 0, and the row 0 column 1, then the value will be 0 and 1, and 0 and 2, and 0 and 3. Now row 1 1 0 1 1 1 2 and 1 3, and so on. So it will work like this. So let me show you an example. Okay, a two-dimensional array. So you see, if we have the rows are 2 and columns are 3, so number two-dimensional array of 2 rows and 4 columns. So you see, to initialize this, you just think, like this. You see, this is the initializer list must be in these two curly brackets. Okay, and inside this, how many rows are there? You see, 2 rows. So each row is actually a single dimensional array. So you see, this is one array, comma, another array. Okay, and the whole set is then stored in another set of curly brackets. So this shows that actually a two-dimensional array is a set of one-dimensional array. So to access this one, int row equal to 0, this is just a variable, and row less than this row, which is 2, and row plus plus. So when you are using two-dimensional array, then you will have to use nested loop. Nested loop is that loop which is inside another loop. Okay, when we put one loop inside another loop, this is called nested loop. So the inner one, the inside this loop is called inner loop, this loop is called outer loop. Okay, so the outer loop controls row. This is why I use the variable row to be clear for you, and the inner loop controls column, so this is why I use the word col. Okay, so then after that, see out values equal to row. So I will display like a row 0 or column 0 is the value, and then the value of the array. So if you run this one, you see, if you run this program, it will show you the values in this way. Now look at this. You see value 00 is equal to 1. If you see here, you see it is the 00, and value 01, okay, is this one, and value 02. Oh, you see, I have used column 4, but actually I provided uh, less values. So this is why the less values are initialized with 00. Okay, and the values that I have provided is initialized with the same values. Okay, you see the columns should be 4. Okay, but I provided one column, two column, one column, two column. So I should provide like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and this one should be 5, and this one should be 6, comma 7, comma 8. It should be like this. So let's save it and run again. Yeah, this time is okay. Okay. Okay, so it works, two-dimensional array works like this. So next one, yeah, two-dimensional array, I already told you it will be like this. And if you want to initialize using the rows, two rows, this is one row, the curly brackets. This is another row. How many columns? Two columns. First column, second column. First column, second column. It will work like this. So two-dimensional array and one-dimensional array, as I told you. So what is this? We can sum and average two-dimensional array also in the same way as we did for the one-dimensional array. You can use more than two-dimensional array also, but actually we cannot visualize, we cannot think about that the three-dimensional array and the four-dimensional array, how it will be stored and how to deal with that. So last thing, that C++ has one standard template library which is called vector also. So vector is an advanced form of array. Okay, so to use this one, you will have to provide the head sign include vector class, and then after that you can simply initialize arrays like this. So this will be actually array, but it is called vector, like a vector int scores. Okay, so this scores is an array, and its type is int. So here no size has been initialized, so automatically add space. So the difference between vector and array is that array size is fixed, and dynamically we cannot change its size. If it is 5, so it is 5. We cannot add more than 5. We cannot delete the size of array. But here the vector is dynamic. Dynamically it can shrink and it can expand. So this is a much more flexible version of array. Okay, and can use this square bracket to access the elements of the vector. Okay, so when you want to use vector in C++, you will have to include this vector class, and after that you see vector int score. And if you want to initialize the size of the vector or size of array. Okay, but not the point. This is dynamic array. It is much more flexible than that. So this size will show the scores are 30. Not the point. In array we are using here square bracket, but in vector we are using here parentheses. Okay, so if you want to initialize with some value, then vector int scores. So the first value is the size of array. This value will be the initialization. Okay, and declare a vector initialized to size and the contents of another vector. So for example, you say int vector int finals. So this is the vector that we are declaring now, but it will be initialized with another vector which we have already initialized here. So all the values will be automatically assigned to this. So you see, this vector is much more flexible than array. In array we cannot do like this. Okay, so in C++, C++11 you can do like this. Vector int numbers, and then you can initialize the values. If you want to initialize, you can initialize like this: 1 2 3 4 5. And vector has a lot of functions like pushback. This function will add one value to the vector, like scores. Okay, scores dot pushback 75, so it will add one value. So if you run this function again, then it will add another value, it will add another value, and the size will be automatically expanded. Okay, and in the same way you can get the size of the whole array just by calling this function score.size. Okay, so pushback and popback. Popback will remove one value from the array, and pushback will add one value to the array. Okay, and clear function will remove all the values from the array. So, and then you can check also that if the array is empty. So vector is much more powerful and dynamic type of array, and that is a special that is defined in a special library in C++, which is called vector. And when you want to use it, you will must include this vector library at the beginning of the program. So to summarize it, array is a variable which store multiple values of the same type, and in memory all these values will be stored in adjacent memory locations. There will be no space between them, and array can be accessed by indexes. The indexes start from 0. So if it is one-dimensional array, the index will be or indexes will be one dimension, and if two-dimensional array, then there will be two type of indexes. Okay, and the advanced form of array is actually a vector. Okay, I hope it is clear. If any confusion, then we will discuss during the class. Okay, bye bye.